There we go. So hi and welcome back to the third live practice now from the Healing Solidarity Conference, and this afternoon UK time, I'm here with Shawna Wakefield, who's going to share a practice with us, and it's morning there, right?
It's late morning.
Yeah. Cool. So Shawna, do you just want to tell people a little bit about who you are before we go into the practice?
Sure. So yes, I'm Shawna Wakefield. I live in Brooklyn, New York. I am a feminist. I am a mom of 2 girls.
Mm-hmm.
I am a gender justice advocate and a consultant now that works on feminist leadership and organizational culture shift and change. And I teach yoga. I'm a student of different traditions for my practices. And I've actually been in the questions around power and how we use power collectively and for justice for many, many years. And so all of my work has been kind of around those questions, particularly for women's rights and gender justice.
Yeah, great. And do you want to say something about the practice you're going to share before we go into it? Or?
Yeah. So I am, in my own practices, I practice Buddhist meditation, and I practice yoga, and a student of somatics, and many other things, being in nature and cooking. I was thinking about all the resilience practices that I have and that people that I know have, and I love hearing about people's resilience practices.
Right.
And so today, reflecting on the theme around healing solidarity, I wanted to offer a practice that is both a bit of movement, a bit of meditation, and if people want to journal at the end, they can do that. So you might want to have a pen and paper handy.
Cool.
And be standing or sitting when we do the movement practice.
Cool. So I am going to make myself smaller. I'm going to try to, so that people can see you better. I think that's worked. I'm just going to check that that's worked. Let me see. I think it's good. I think we're good. Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
So please welcome.
Just offer a little bit more reflection before we go into the movement. And I've also, like many of the folks that are on this conference involved in it, have been inside of international development organizations for many, many years, inside of smaller organizations. And what has really made my heart both be angry and ache and reach out and expand into relationship with others is how we reproduce the systems of oppression and power abuse inside of our organizations that we're trying to fight in the world. And I know many of the speakers are going to be talking about that. So my practices are really about building resilience to be in relationship with those systems in a way that I cannot be bowled over by it, and that I can work with others to change them to the extent that we want to be inside of them. And as I've said, I've left, but I support organizations now. And the other piece is that, a lot of us coming into organizations that are justice oriented, that are rights based, have trauma in our backgrounds. They can be relational trauma. They can be because we are poor, we are women, we are ethnic minorities, we are racial minorities. Because we are activists, we may experience events that are traumatic or relationships that are traumatic, and then there's everyday stress. And so we know that those dynamics of just everyday stress are harmful and can be very harmful inside of our organizations. So that's where, and the power abuse and, the need to and aid to stuff that's happening inside of some of the larger organizations and smaller make it really hard for us sometimes to show up in our work when we're inside of those organizations in a way that builds connection and solidarity among folks that are inside and share values, as well as folks that are outside that we are meant to be fighting for. So that's my concern, is how we build those capacities, that language of capacity building. Maybe we can use that around our own well-being, self and collective care and connection, in a way that we can move from transactional to a more transformational practice of development, movement building. So this practice is first about sort of slowing down and being able to connect in with ourselves. So I would invite people to either sit in a chair, or you could stand up if you like. So for a moment, maybe just reflect a little bit and check in what you need. So if you've been running around to meetings and sitting in traffic all day, you might feel a calm seat is a nice place to be. If you've been sitting at your desk all day, you might feel that standing up is the right thing for you. And then, of course, accounting for whatever ability you have. So wherever you are, whatever choice you've made, standing or sitting, I invite you to arrive there. So you've landed in this Facebook conference. You are here for some reason. Be here for the next, let's say, 20 minutes or so. And so if you're standing, really feel your feet on the floor. If you're sitting, feel your sit bones on the floor, feel your sit bones in your chair and your feet on the floor. And let's just take in a few deep breaths. So this is something we forget to do sometimes in our days, running around, is breathe. So I invite you to take a few breaths in and out through your mouth. You can make noise if you want, just sigh it out gently. And then after you've taken your few breaths, just coming into a normal breath, being however it is, wherever you are, and feeling your feet on the earth, whether you're sitting or standing. And knowing that there are others walking the earth, there are others in your building, perhaps, that you're working with. Animals, trees on the earth, that you're not alone here. And then lifting the crown of your head towards the sky. You might even press into your feet and lift your head up towards the sky. And knowing that there is so much life around you. There's life that connects us. The breath that you breathe is coming from the sky, the air. And then between these 2 points, check in whether you're kind of forward or back. So especially among, activists and all the policy people that I know, you're kind of moving forward a lot. And what is it like to lean back a little bit into your back, into your physical back, history and support that you may have around you? And you might notice, if you know that you're somebody who leans back, that you might need to come forward a little bit, so checking in. And then extending across your collarbone. So when we're at our desk a lot or we're guarding something, there can be really good reasons for that. At the same time, let's just open our hearts a little bit more. So that can be through lifting through your sternum, your chest, and sort of expanding through your collarbones. And then imagining that there's a hand on your back, if that is something that's supportive for you, that's just kind of holding you, if you need a little bit more. And then just softening into your belly. Whatever holding you do during the day to get through, to push through, just see if you can soften that a little bit more, and perhaps do that by taking a few more deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And seeing if you can bring some awareness to your whole body, expanding just a little bit more maybe. Sometimes we're so contracted around trying to control and push through that we don't even notice how we're feeling. We don't notice whether there's any room to expand a little bit more. So seeing if that breath can help. And then if you like, you can have your eyes open, closed for all of this actually, or you can have your eyes kind of downcast. And so now standing or sitting in this seat, maybe, just check in, how are you now? And then bring attention to your forehead and see if you can relax that a little bit more. When we're in our thinking brains, we can sort of scrunch it up and try to control things from our heads, and that can really be a place that creates a lot of tension for us and certainly for others around us that are trying to engage with us. So see about looking from the back of your eyes if you can. And you can do this with your eyes closed too, but if you have your eyes open, you can kind of just softly take in what's around you a little bit more. And imagining, like, you can, relaxing the back of your eyes and just looking from back there. Loosening your jaw. Taking a breath in and out. And then bringing attention to your shoulders. Rib cage, your back. Seeing if there's anywhere else that you can relax into. And taking a big breath in and out. So we're just using the breath this time in this kind of body scan to open a bit more, to feel a bit more sensation in our bodies where we tend to numb or push through or need a lot of it to know how to act. So just noticing now your hips, pelvis, and your legs. So if you're sitting, especially, the legs can get really dead. So I invite you to pick up your toes and then drop them, and you can do this if you're standing too. And just to bring a bit more awareness into your legs. And breathing in and sighing out. And we'll do a little bit of gentle movement now. So you just roll your shoulders. I start most days like this. So just rolling your shoulders forward, up and around. And you can notice if there's points where you just catch, there's a stickiness there. You may have injuries, so if that's the case, be really, really gentle. And I actually invite just everyone to be really gentle with this. And inhaling, if you can, as you lift, and exhaling as you drop it down. You're sitting, staying grounded in your seat, even as you lift up, and then you could go the other direction. So inhaling as you come towards the top, and then exhaling as you go down. Great. Okay. And just pause and check in with sensation. These are gentle movements, and there is sensation attached with it. So see if you can find what that might be, if you're noticing anything. And if you don't, that's also information. Okay, and now I invite you to reach your arms up overhead. So you can reach them up. And then exhale, just breathe them down by your sides. And inhaling, reach up. And if you like, you could even look up. And as you exhale, just reach your arms down by your sides. Inhaling. And exhaling. Keeping your feet planted into the earth. And bring your arms down. And then once more, raise your arms up, and then you clasp your hands like this, and then press your palms up towards the sky. So if you can't see, your hands would be like this, if you can do this. Otherwise, if you can't, you could just do a prayer above your head. But reach your armpits kind of up towards your ears for a minute, and press your feet down into the earth, and press your sit bones down into your chair. Inhale, and then reach over to your right side, and exhale. And see about bringing in extension, length, breath. Holding for a couple of breaths there. And then coming back to center. Making space in your rib cage and belly. And then inhaling and reaching over to the left side. Just a couple breaths here. And then coming back to center. And releasing your arms. You can shrug your shoulders a bit. Just check in if there's any new sensation that you have. It could be anywhere. Maybe without attaching any feeling to it or judgment to it, there will be feeling. Feeling is good. Judgment is what makes things hard for us sometimes when we're doing it on ourselves and others. So just checking in how you're feeling, what the sensations are. And just a little bit more movement here. So you can do this sitting or standing also, but you place your hands on your thighs or your kneecaps if you're sitting, either way, and then you'll inhale and lift your chest. So your lower back will arch a little bit, and your upper chest will reach up towards the ceiling, and then you'll press your belly back towards your spine and just create kind of a concave shape, like a C with your body. And then we'll just do a few rounds like that. So when you inhale, you'll lift your heart, open a little bit to yourself, to others, and exhaling, releasing, and inhaling. So if you're in your chair, your sit bones are going to kind of rock back and forth. Great. And if you want to do a few more of those, you're welcome to do. It's a nice way to just loosen up the spine. Open your heart a little bit more so we can bring our hearts to work, like the session we did yesterday. And then you can just come back to center and make some with your upper body. You realize you can't probably see very well here what I'm doing, but way. So you just kind of rock around like you're stirring a pot with your upper body. And if you're standing, this is going to also come from your upper body. And you're just kind of juicing up the sides, especially if you've been kind of stationary all day, or if you've been guarding your heart or your belly, neck, shoulders. Just seeing how we can be a little bit more fluid with that motion, and then coming back around the other way. And here you could align your breath with your movement too. So the more that you're breathing and conscious of it, the easier it can be to deal with overwhelming sensations, to deal with our anger, frustration, feeling of general overwhelm. And back to center. And we'll just now do a brief meditation. So this practice is really all about coming into our self and being more aware of where we are, what our feelings are, what our sensations are, as a way of being more aware of others and our connection, possibilities for connection, the ways in which we push that connection away. So come to your seat. If you're standing, you might want to sit down now, or you can stay standing. Come back to that awareness that you're here. You're here in this body, on this chair, on this earth. Bring your attention back to your breath. Just being really aware of your breath, where it's tight, where it's full. If you're lucky to feel a full breath, see if you're breathing in your chest or your belly, and see if you can kind of even out that breath. And consider your breath that which can sustain you and does sustain you, can give you more than life, but also resilience, the ability to not just withstand pressure, but actually to meet it with more ease, more grace, even joy. And you can sort of visualize your breath as that which connects you to others. So those around us are breathing too. Those around us, whether it's right next door, down the hall, in our office, in our community, family, people that we're fighting for, that don't live with us or near us even, that we are connected. We are different and we are connected. So what would it take for us, for you, to be with yourself and move with others in a more centered, purposeful, and loving place? that question is for this day to make it really concrete, or this week or this year, what comes up for you with that question? Give you a couple of minutes to just kind of feel into that, see if anything comes up. What would it take for me, you, us to be with ourselves and move with others from a more centered, purposeful, and loving place? Take this question as something that's really within your very close realm of influence, of connection, of being, or wider out on a movement building scale. But understanding that even big movements require us to be in purposeful action at the smallest scale. So what does it take for us to move in this way? And if you like, you could kind of open your eyes and journal if you want for a minute. Or you can stay in this sort of seated practice for another minute or so. And if you're writing, I invite you not to go into intellectual headspace analysis, but rather have it come from what you just felt in your body. And what just may have come up if you're able to sort of visualize. Maybe just in these the last few moments, if you're writing, if there's any like last few words that just jump out at you that will help you to connect to that. If something has come up for you, to be able to connect into that. And then just because I love questions, I wanted to, an inquiry. I wanted to ask one more to leave you with that is from Adrienne Marie Brown, who, if you haven't read her book, Emergent Strategy, I really recommend it for helping our abilities to work with emergence and uncertainty and movement building. And she says, quoting Grace Lee Boggs, what would our movements look like if we focused on critical connection instead of critical mass? And I tell you, I read the whole book a couple times now, and that is what really sticks with me, coming from, big organization that does campaigning and advocacy, and knowing that we often want to go to scale in these international development projects and organizations, and sort of what does it look like to recalibrate ourselves around connection and relationship that models what we're trying to do in the world. So I hope this is helpful for you. This is basically a kind of body scan, breath awareness, meditation and movement work that we just did, and I hope it is simple enough that you can take forward some of it in your own days, or just be aware of what helps give you resilience. Dancing, going to nature, cooking with friends, and going back to what you said yesterday, Marianne, around, or 2 days ago, around practice is just what we do over and over again. So finding something that helps us to connect to ourselves and connect with others, because I think that's really what healing is about. That's what solidarity is about. I encourage you to do that. And I hope, and my idea about change is that ripples out. Yeah. That ripples out far and wide.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you, Shawna. I'm just gonna, people should be able to see me a bit better now. Thank you so much for sharing that. I've just posted in the Facebook group to ask if anyone has questions, but I just wanted to reflect something back, which was I really loved that piece where you asked us to lean back if we lean forward a lot, or forward if we lean back a lot. And I hadn't thought about it in that way before, but it felt such a relief to lean backwards into my chair. I can't tell you, just in that moment. I think there was just something that I really enjoyed about that, so thank you. So that leaning back is just, I didn't realise how much I was, alert.
Yeah. I'm myself, so.
Okay. Yeah, it was just like, oh wow, there's a whole movement I have that's back. I don't think anyone's asked questions, so there are some nice reflections back, and people saying that they enjoyed it, and also saying that they also have enjoyed emergent strategy. So we'll put the link for that for anyone who's listening in these comments here below this live. And if people do have questions afterwards, if you're watching back on the video, if you're watching now and you think of something later, just come back to this thread and we'll get back to you. Yeah. Thank you so much, Shawna, for your time today.
Looking forward to the rest of this.
Yeah.
And what comes next.
Yeah, thanks. Absolutely. Thank you. So bye to people watching.